I'll walk over there. Just stay there.
The best time to ask suspension questions.
You're going to end up walking over here to the table and stuff, aren't you?
Is when we're live. I can't hear you, Justin.
You're going to walk over to the table or what?
Yes.
Then you just stay over there. I'll walk over by the car.
All right, we're live. What's going on, Shock Therapy?
Really?
Today is the day that everyone always bugs us for. Throw it out there Thursday. Anything you want to know about suspension, about UTVs, throw it out there.
It does seem like it's a little bit warm or something.
It is.
So throw it out there Thursday. You guys throw out questions and we're going to get to every single one of them that we possibly can. Obviously, we are in the race shop again today, and by looking at my race shirt, it is race time. We've got the race on Saturday, which is Silver State 300, and what we're doing right now is kind of loading everything up in the chase trucks and the trailers and getting the race car all wiped off and perfect. So we're just going to go over some of the things that we get ready as we're going to a race, as you guys are asking questions.
Bright Fame 13.5. You think the Pro will come out with a 72?
Yes, I think it's going to get dropped this year.
Who else do we got on deck with us today, Justin? It's kind of special.
Oh, we have Darren.
Hi, guys.
Darren Hunt is a team manager, by the way. So if you guys come out to the race, you'll see Darren and Tony with us as well. And they do an excellent job both prepping and running the team, prepping the car and running the team.
We got some questions coming in. Fire away. Darren, come on.
Let's see here. Eric 522. Can I do springs before cage?
Yeah. If you tell us what you're going to do for a cage or whose cage you're going to do, then we'll modify the spring kit in advance. It might be a little bit stiffer spring rates when you don't have the cage than we would prefer, but we would set it up for what you're going to do in the future. And when you order spring kits from us, that's one of the questions that we ask you. So, Darren, when you're talking to, don't forget to be clear. Oh, you're mic'd.
We got him mic'd up
He's
today.
Mic'd. Oh my gosh.
He's the real
Chase,
deal
you actually
McCoy.
did something today? Thank you.
You know, sometimes I outdo myself, Justin.
We were actually placing bets because Chase has got some new gadget he's recording on his phone so that we can actually put your guys' face as you log in and go live with us. We can actually put that on the YouTube feed afterwards. So he's very excited right now.
Reminds me, so if you guys go live with us, not only do you get a shirt, you're going to be on the feed today.
Yes, yes. I'm going to walk around and kind of show you guys a little bit of what we're doing, getting ready to load up for the race.
Justin, I got another question real quick here. Torque 088, KRX 1000 4-seat. Will you that give you four base you want? The four-wheel
wheelbase.
Yeah, the wheelbase you want.
Yeah. From what I hear, yeah, it's going to be a perfect size for that car as far as wheelbase is concerned. You know, if you're going to go racing through the big rough stuff, then wheelbase is a huge help. And you're going to probably see a lot of race teams take that four-seater and turn it into a two-seat race car. And that'd be perfect for like best in the desert racing.
I got Lucas Miller. What kind of fuel range do your race cars have, and what kind of fuel mileage do you get during a race? So
the range depends on the size of the fuel cell. We run a 30-gallon fuel cell in the car. You can't really see it if you look in here because it's basically the whole floor of the car. We're sitting on top of 30 gallons. Everybody's mileage is different too. It just depends on the horsepower they're making in the flash that they're running, whoever's car it might be. I would say though, in Pro Turbo, most of the guys are running somewhere between 6 and 6.5 miles a gallon. Maybe as bad as 5.5 miles a gallon. Now we get a little bit better mileage than a lot of people just because of our tune, and we can go with 30 gallons about 220 miles.
All right, Chaser UAE. Hey Chaser, front shock angle and shock tower. What UTV has the best and why?
Well, let's see what Robbie ends up doing on the new Speed UTV. I think that might have the best angle that's coming in the future, but as far as current vehicles, I would say the Wildcat XX or the KRX. And what we're talking about for angle, Chase, if you come to the front of the car, like literally in front and looking at this angle here, we're talking about this shock angle, how that's laid over. Perfect geometry is actually not with this leaning in as far as it is, and that's pretty much standard on Can-Ams and Polarises, and everybody's got them leaned in. The perfect shock geometry is when the shock itself is connected to the A-arm. A-arm's coming up fully bottomed out. That A-arm pivot plane from the pivot point to the outer ball joint. That is an imaginary straight line. The shock should be 90 degrees to that arm at full compression. So that's what perfect is, but in reality, almost everybody's in here. So they've got a whole lot more angle like that. What you end up doing is you have to run a lot more spring rate, have to run a lot more valving for that. And the reason that the factories do that is they want the shock out of your way so you can see over the hood. Actually, I think the best place to put a shock is on the lower control arm, so it goes lower, and then you can stand it up and it wouldn't be in your way.
We got someone for Uruguay here. What's going on, man?
How are you doing?
Doing awesome.
Hey, thanks for logging in from Uruguay. That's pretty cool. We like hearing about where everybody's at, which country they're coming in from. So thanks for tuning in.
Okay, thank you very much. So the question is, what brake pads do you use on the Can-Ams for racing? If you use stock pads, how long do they last? Because I had maybe 200 miles and I destroyed the brake pads and the rear brake discs from new.
Okay, so we run Streamline Brakes on our car. Actually, we've got some new ones over here, Chase. Let's take a look over here. You still have all the new stuff over here, right?
We have
So
we have some replaced too.
we run Streamline, and we run both their rotor, and we also run their pad. So here's the larger rotor from Streamline. It's actually an inch larger in diameter overall, which gives you more grip when you're, as far as braking power is concerned. Also, we run the Streamline pads, and here's a set. It's funny that you asked that question, and we actually have all this ready, tuned up and ready for you to see. But the Streamline pad is a grippier pad, so it's going to wear out quicker than the factory pads do. But we run the system and we have great braking. We can lock up all 4 tires on the street with 33s, and most of the time that is not the case with a Can-Am. We change these pads about every 1,000 race miles. So you can at least expect to see that much life out of it, and hopefully that's enough for you guys. But if you're smoking rear brakes, then I would take a look at your master and make sure that it's working properly, because on a Can-Am, and if you're running it in 4-wheel drive, just the rear brakes can actually lock the fronts up too, because there's no one-way bearing in the system. So if you've got, say, the fronts aren't doing their job because the master is not working properly, you're only going to have rear brakes. It'll still stop great. At least it'll lock all 4 of them up, but you're going to smoke right through pads because your rears are doing all the work. So double check that. We've seen it on our car before.
Okay, understood. And those brake discs, do they fit with the 14-inch wheels?
With Portuguese wheels, is that what you
14.
said? Oh, 14s? No, they don't. These are designed around a 15 so they could run a bigger diameter. You're not going to get that in a 14. Pretty much none of us race any 14s in Best in the Desert. We're all running a 15-inch wheel so we can get more clearance to the caliper and not have rocks get between the caliper and the wheel. So you're going to have to run 15s with this system.
Do they make pads for the OEM caliper?
Yep. So you can run these pads on your stock caliper and on your stock rotor.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Easy enough. Awesome, man. Give us a shirt color and a shirt size, and Chase will mail you a shirt.
Send it in direct messages.
Okay.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks, man. Have a good one. Let's go. What questions have you got while we're looking at this stuff?
Frank G. Life, all gas, no brake. We agree with you there, brother, but I know you got some kids in the back. Come on.
All gas, no brake. Well, you're right. I mean, in Best in the Desert, it's pretty really amazing competition. Everybody's really fast. So if you're not pinned, then you're 100% on the brakes. There's nothing in the middle anymore. You have questions?
I got someone that is waiting to go live, Sean BMX 2020, but he declined. Come on, man. I love that name.
All right.
You had me sold.
Take a look at some of the stuff that we're prepping to go. So whenever we go to race, we've always got a chase book. The books that we bring have schedules in them, has a schedule of events, so all the guys in every truck knows where they're going to go. We have race maps, got larger race maps for the trucks. This is the 300 information sheet. We've got things like where the pits are, where the rules are in and out of the pits, highway access. Here's our entry list, and we are starting 18th by draw in this race. And we can see all the other guys that are in this race so that we can count minutes or time between cars when they go through the pits. If we don't have good tracking, then the guys in the pits can let us know where we stand after they see all the cars come through. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in here too, like where all the spares are in the trucks, emergency phone numbers, air vac, things like that. Everybody in the trucks have these books, so they have everybody else's cell phones in the books. That way communication is really good.
We got Trucker Moore. He's got a very urgent question here, Justin. What is the
Trucker.
ride height for the Maverick Sport XRC? With 32s, may I add?
Actually, the XRC is 30s, not 32s.
Okay, well, I think he's saying with 32s.
Oh, okay. Well, with a 30, we're about 14 and a half inches. So with a 32, that would add one more inch. 15 and a half inches.
Alrighty, he was very urgent about that. Hopefully
He's
that
probably
answered.
putting a kit on right this second. He might have bought the kit like the night it went on the website. We sold like 10 kits literally the night that it went up.
We got another live viewer. What's going on, man? Where you at? What you driving? What's your question?
Vancouver, Washington. I have an original Maverick XDS.
OG Maverick in Washington, very cool. So like Coos Bay, go right up there? Yeah.
Just got back last weekend.
Nice, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Quick question. Look at the upgrade. My buddy's got an X3, the RS, and then I test drove the XP Pro. And I'm looking to drive more trails, not just the dunes. So I'm curious if the XDS can handle the whoops and stuff. Maybe not as good as the RS, but would it be better than the XP Pro?
I think the Pro is going to be better than the DS. For trail stuff, I would suggest the Pro. I really like that car, even though we race and have a ton of Can-Ams around here. But for narrow stuff, I would suggest a Pro for what you're doing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Easy enough. Give us t-shirt size and color, and I'll have Chase send it to you, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you much.
Thanks, man. What do you got, Darren?
Racer X 315 GJ, what do you run for fire suppression and how many points do you have to have?
So fire suppression in the race car, they require 2.5 pound fire extinguishers, which are a little bit smaller than the ones on this table. There's one up on the car, and I'd like to move that again. They require one inside the car and one on the outside of the car. You can also run a full fire suppression system that's actually plumbed throughout the car with one tank that feeds a bunch of spray nozzles inside. They'll let you do both. Run a full fire suit. Has to be a 2-layer suit and has to be approved, SFI legal, and we run 5-point seat belt harness. I'm not sure if that was part of the question or not, but yeah.
Changel 1120. So what's your guys' opinion on the 2020 Can-Am Maverick X3 base model, 120 horse? Just got one last week. So far I like it. I ride more in the sand and dunes, and whoops, it's completely stock.
Well, I like that car as far as a non-turbo car is concerned. The suspension design works really well. We have kits for that, both spring and internals. Chase, I think your brother's got one.
Yes, he does.
So actually we were using Chase's brother's car to test all of that, and they're a ton of fun. I like it. So you might be a little underpowered though if you're going to the big sand dunes. I would suggest a turbo car for that if you really want to spend a lot of time in the dunes, but everywhere else, especially in trails, it's awesome.
Just, do you know when we're going to have the Turbo S race rack back in stock?
Turbo S should be in stock as we speak. If it's not in stock, we could put some together and get them out right away. So if you maybe email us at sales@shocktherapist.com, and we'll go outside and take a tally physical, and we'll put something together for you if you need it.
Any product we have on our website too does have a notify option.
That's true. Good point, Chase. Thank you. You're hired. If you click the notify me option on that product, then it'll ask you for your email, and as soon as it's back in stock on the site, it'll email you right away so you can buy it on the spot.
I got a live contestant, Peter.
Okay.
He's tuning in here. We'll see if we can get him up. He's connecting.
How you doing?
Peter, what's going on, man? Where are you at? What you driving? What's your question? Looks like I'm looking at your seat right now, man.
What's that?
It looks like I'm looking at your seat right now. Pick up that phone. Where are you at?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better?
There, hell yeah. Looks like you're at a track, man.
What state are you in, Peter?
I got it backwards. Is that better?
There you go. I can see you now.
Alright. I've got a X3 2018 two-seater. On the back, it's got on the back shocks, it's got 3 springs on it. I kind of think I already know the answer. But why 3 instead of 2 like you guys use?
So the reason is the third spring on top, it's actually a flat wound spring. They call those helper springs. All that's there to do is keep the spring package from rattling when it's at droop, because they don't have the right or long enough spring package on the car factory. When you jack it up and the car's tires in the air, that 2 spring package will rattle. So that helper just keeps enough tension on it to keep them from coming loose. With our spring package, we've got different lengths and different rates, and because of that, we can manage a spring that doesn't ever get loose at droop. So a helper does nothing for you in ride quality, it just holds the spring on.
There you go. I thought it was because of the safety test or something like that. But.
No, well, I mean, it can be part of it because they're running a spring package that's too stiff, so they don't roll the car over on the government rollover test. But as you see, I mean, we can run our spring package on there with dual rate and not have any rattling issues and have the car still work great. So I'm not sure why they do what they do sometimes. I think a lot of people wonder.
Well, it's really compressed, so it's like it doesn't look like it's actually helping the car at all.
It does nothing at all for ride quality. All it does is hold the spring on when they're rattling at droop.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all you guys have said.
Hey, no problem, man.
It's taught me a lot. Actually, the car will be there Tuesday.
Awesome, man. Thanks for getting your stuff to us. That's badass. Appreciate the work. Make sure that you send us your t-shirt color and size so I can get Chase to send it to you.
Send in direct messages.
All right.
Thanks for your question, man. Have a good one.
Bye.
Send it, Rob. X3 Max. Was about to order a rear sway bar for my X3 XRX Max. Heard a rumor about an on-the-fly adjustable you're going to be offering. Should I wait? Is it close to dropping?
No, we're a ways off on dropping that, and so I would buy the bar. And when we do offer that kit, it will still use the bar that you're purchasing. It's going to be all done inside the links, so you're not going to waste any money if you buy the kit right now. It's going to be quite a few months, so don't wait.
Ryan H. Bartlett, is there anything that can be done to help with steering wheel feedback with portals?
No. Once you throw portals on there, you've changed the front end geometry, scrub radius, kingpin inclination angles, all those things become negatives to feedback in the wheel with a portal. It's just something you have to deal with. I will throw one more little secret out of the bag. We just got one patent back in this week, and it has to do with some components inside of portals. So you might see some new portal designs from us in the future. It's all part of our utility direction when we're talking about products on like Rangers and Generals and things like that. So you'll see some cool stuff soon.
They're on to us, Justin. It's hard to keep secrets around here.
All right, I got another one.
Well, usually because I talk too much. That's the reason why we can't keep any secrets.
D. Galindo, 1987.
Hey, Dominic, how's it going?
Why and how did you choose your race number 927?
Man, I wish I had a good answer for you. We called Best in the Desert and asked them what numbers were available, and it was like the coolest number that they gave us. There's only like 3 choices, and 927 sounded something like a 427, and I'm kind of a horsepower guy, so it sounded good.
Ooh, I like this question. Alex the Closer, do you sell coilovers for the Jeep? Beep, beep.
No, we do not sell anything for, daily driven types of vehicles. You can hit iBuck up for that, or any of the lift kit companies, Rancho, ProComp, all those guys, they've got springs for you too. More parts. So as you as you scan the table, you guys are looking at some of our checklists that the guys are using to make sure we're not forgetting anything. This is basically double all the parts you see on the left, on the right, because it's 2 trucks. We're basically setting everything up for 2 chase trucks. If you want to scan through some of the doors, I'll answer more questions while you do that, and I'll talk about it too.
I do have some very important questions here that need to be answered, Justin.
Well, it sounds like you are
Team Lohi, what are the feelings about the Double E Racing sway bar for the YXZ, greatest car of all time, as well as Yamaha Man 168? Could you guys do another YXZ video on the front suspension? That last video was great. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Chase will remind me to do that because he loves YXZ, so I'll never forget. We'll get a video on that for you if you like. As far as that Double E sway bar, I mean, I know of Double E because they do some shock work on, I think, Dustin Jones's car, but I don't know what their sway bar is for the YXZ, man. I can't tell you. I have to look it up. So looking in the truck, we've got hubs, fire extinguishers, all our chemicals. If you look, divider bins, all electronic stuff. So we had to, rip some wires apart or fix something that might have come off the car. We can do it quick. Here's hardware, and the way we do our hardware is we have this specific size hardware just for like arms, spindles, tie rods. We don't bring any extra. We bring just the sizes that fit the car. Zip ties, a whole bunch of other stuff. If you look at the handle. If you guys look at this. That one doesn't. Take a look over here on the left. See, these are both in English and in Spanish. That's because when we race in Mexico, we have a lot of guys help us out that are locals, and they might be quicker to see it in Spanish to grab something that we need than try and do the translation in their head. Or if we just have somebody helping us last second that's on the side of the road, which happens, they can actually come over to the truck and they can see where our parts are and grab what we need if we're asking them. That's the most important stuff. You got more questions, Darren?
Yeah, I got, here's a good one. Racer X 315 GJ. How do we get one of those race shirts?
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. Race shirts are not a giveaway. You got to be on the team to get one of those. So you're going to have to come down here and volunteer for a few months to get one. You got coolers behind you. The guys have already done all the important stuff. Ice, beer, soda, water, snacks, so that when we're at the race, they don't have to stop at a restaurant, because especially where we're going, which the race starts in Caliente, which is north of Vegas, about 3 hours. There's pretty much nothing up there where we're racing. There's only one restaurant, there's one town, and it's got one bar, and that's about it. So we're not going to get too much. On this side, we haven't filled the truck up yet, but you can see generators, vices, all the tools, big persuaders if needed. And the guys are setting up all of the spare tires and fuel. So our dump cans are already filled. All that stuff's documented. And yes, we do run race gas. People ask us that all the time, why we do that. Our car actually runs on pump gas, but we run race gas anyway. Excuse me. The reason is we like to be extremely safe to the car and have zero issues. And sometimes if you go to a specific race and you fill it up with pump gas there, it's in the boonies and you don't know how long that fuel's been around. It may not be as good as they say. If you go to Mexico, that's certainly the case. So we don't like going to Mexico and running Mexico, pump gas, and they won't let you bring it across the border. So we run race gas on everything just for the safety reason. Got more questions, Darren?
Yes. Torque 088, fuel cell and or spare tire off the back of a YXZ, enough weight to help prevent a nosedive.
Yeah, more weight the better off the back of a YXZ. So that spare tire off the back's a great idea. Fuel's so good idea, because somebody could rear end you and pop the cell. So I'm not sure if I'd go that far with it. But I would put the toolbox or your cooler, I would maybe relocate a battery. The more you put back there, the better the car is going to work. Tire is a good start. A little more than a tire would be great. What do you got, Chase? You're laughing.
I got Richard Jeffries. I just summoned him to see if we could get him to go live here.
RJ.
I don't know if he's going to connect in here.
Over here on your right, Chase, here's some of the other stuff that we're loading up to go to the race. We've got chairs, water, more snacks. I mean, the guys love their jerky and everything else. That way they can go all night if they have to. We got pit boards. Is that RJ?
We got RJ. Hey.
What's up, man? I know for a fact you're in Arizona. I don't have to ask you what country you're from.
What was that?
I don't have to ask you what country you're in. I know.
What are you doing this weekend, RJ? What are you driving? And that haircut, my God, that thing looks great.
Talk about hair on point. His is always on point.
You guys are too cute.
We want to know what you're driving and who's your barber right now. Go.
What I'm driving, currently Can-Am X3.
We hear that thing's coming along quite well.
Yeah, fortunately, we're busy with everybody else's stuff right now, so we haven't paid a lot of attention to my stuff, but we're coming around to it. We'll get it done pretty quick.
Hey, you guys busy with a ton of tune work right now? A lot of Evo flashes, right?
A ton. The good part, and I think the trend, has been everybody's starting to get ready for dune season months in advance rather than weeks in advance. So it's been good for us. We've been busy with a lot of Evolution Power Sports upgrades, especially with the big turbo stuff lately. It's gotten really popular, so we've been pretty focused on that.
You bring up a really good point. I'm going to kind of speak to everybody right now. Everyone's last minute when it comes to dune season, and don't expect to call your favorite shop in October and be able to get your stuff done by the end of that month to go to like Camp Razor. So with us, we're always about 3 to 4 weeks out. You guys really try to pay attention to that. Call us 2 months early. Call RJ 2 months early, and so you can get some stuff done. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
No, absolutely. I would encourage everybody. I think I just made my shop there. That was the funny thing we talked about the last night. Everybody thinks like everybody has a plug or we can just get it to the makeup. I just made my appointment to get my all of my ride improvement system, my IQS, everything installed. And my closest appointment I could get was in August. So
yeah, no favors for you.
I definitely encourage everybody, whether you're thinking about getting tuning or you're thinking about getting suspension work or anything done, this is the time to do it while we have openings, because come September, we're going to tell you it'll be November.
Yep, you're right, man. Good advice. You got anything you want to talk some smack about Chase real quick before we let you go?
I think everybody that can talk smack about Chase, I don't want to do that anymore. He already gets enough of it from his wife.
Good one, RJ. Appreciate it, man. Hey, thanks a lot for logging in.
No, absolutely. We'll talk to you guys later.
Take it easy. Yeah, you good questions, Darren?
Yes, Frank G. Life. How reliable at the front knuckle? How reliable are the front knuckles on the X3? Also, how reliable are the rear knuckles with our TIS installed? It's TLS.
Yep. So the question, well, your mic so everybody could hear it.
Yes.
The factory knuckle is great. We run a factory front knuckle on our car at the moment. We run a ZRP rear. For play cars, you can run the stock stuff all day long. What I would recommend though is if you ever have to service the hub bearing, that when you put it back in, it's red Loctited in, and do the clip upgrade, because sometimes you can push the clip out and that bearing gets a little bit loose, but we just don't ever have breakages when it comes to the hub itself. In the rear, if you do a TLS kit on the factory one, that hub will be there forever. You'll lose the bearing before you have a hub problem. Behind me, these are pit mats, which are required in Best in Desert. So when we pit, this mat's a 20-foot long deal, so you can fuel it, not drip fuel on the ground. Most of these boxes, these are helmets and fire suits. I'm sorry, what was that?
Why do those things smell so?
Matt Burke.
Yeah, well, you know, pitting is always a good time to take a leak, and
First letter
sometimes the car is always leaking whenever we come into a pit. It's weird.
First letter in pit is P.
Yeah, you're right. So fire suits for the guys that do all the fueling, that's also a safety thing that we do, and most Best in Desert requires it. Score does not. We've got more snacks, and in the bottom of these there's work lights and the generator right below you, so that we can actually set up a full pit with surrounded in light, and we can work on the car if we have to at night.
Darren, did you load my Fiji water?
Yes. Of course, it's got its own cooler.
Did you suggest Fiji water? You wanted Fiji water on the race?
Fiji.
Did you really?
Only Fiji.
Only Fiji. Well, I don't even know what to say. Really.
I don't ask for much, Justin.
What do you want?
But
You
when
get
I ask
Perrier
for
and a back
something, I
rub in the
want it,
middle of the
okay?
You get the same water we get, Chase. You can bring one bottle and you can just keep filling it if you so choose.
Yeah, I'll give you a straw for the water. It's just connected to my catheter.
We got another live viewer. What's going on, man? Where are you at? What you driving? What's your question?
17 Razor Turbo,
Nice. Where are you at?
Southern Ohio.
Hell yeah.
Right on, man.
Weather looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's great.
Right on. What's your question?
I want to run some 35s. And what do you recommend? How to do that?
You want to run 35s, and you want a recommendation on how to do it?
Yeah, Ford A-arms, lift, what do you think?
Well, on an XP, they fit stock. A 35 clears on that car. You just can't run a wheel offset that sticks them out. The farther out you go, when you turn, it swings rearward and the tire's going to hit the firewall. If you run a wheel that's like a 5.1 or a 5.2 offset, 35's clear.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than doing arms. You don't have to do it.
I thought I heard you say something before that you didn't care too much for the forward arms.
Well, I mean, it's not terrible. It's just It's tough to give you the exact reason, mainly because a lot of guys that build forward arms don't keep the geometry exactly the same. Some of them do, some of them don't. So I kind of question, you know, the accuracy of a lot of forward arm systems. But to run a 35 on your car, you don't have to even buy an arm for it. As long as the wheel's a 5.1 or a 5.2 offset, you can't run a 4.3 offset or a 4.4. Don't run those. They will hit the firewall, but a 5.2 and a 5.1, you can clear a 35.
Sweet, appreciate it, man.
You got it, man. Shirt size and color. Chase will send it to Indiana.
Yeah, send us a direct message.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Crash.
What do you got?
Crash 4519. Does anybody make a full tube chassis replacement for an X3 yet?
Whoa, good question.
I mean, we kind of have something.
Well, not really. I mean, that's factory chassis right now on the table, but yes. So,
Reese?
tube replacement. I mean, you can call Lone Star and they'll build your race chassis, but it's not going to replace, like directly replace or allow you to bolt all the factory stuff onto it. It's going to be a handmade car. If you're talking about a tube chassis that you can take all your factory stuff and bolt it right back on, it doesn't exist yet. It will exist in about 2 months. And I can't tell you who's doing it, but I know who it is, and I know it's going to be really nice. And you will be able to buy one that is direct replacement, all out of chromoly.
It sounds expensive.
About 2 months, maybe 3.
Sidewalk Surfer Guy. Why do we never see external bypass shocks on side-by-sides, not even in race applications?
The reason you don't see external bypasses is because it's very expensive for the factory to do that, so they don't. Second reason for racing is that the best in the desert rules do not allow for 2 shocks. So in the rule book, it says you must run 1 shock and it must be a coilover shock. It does not say anything else other than you cannot run a secondary shock and you cannot run an external bump stop. So 1 shock per corner is by best in the desert rules. That's why the racers don't do it. Now, some people have done some cool little fabrication work and they run a coilover like this one on the back, and they run a short spring package, and then they run external bypass tubes welded to the shock on top. That's been done. King did it about 10 years ago. But it doesn't work very much better than an internal bypass does anymore. So it's an expensive option. It doesn't get you too much when in the way of performance. But the reason you don't see a second shock, number 1, rules. It's against the rules for racing. And number 2, it's very expensive. That's why the factories don't do it.
Ryan H. Bartlett. Does forward arms hurt steering wheel feedback?
No, forward arms are not going to change steering wheel feedback unless they are not the correct geometry. So if the arm manufacturer does it right and they manage to keep all of the geometry correct, then you're not going to see any issues. If they mess it up a little bit and change caster just a little, or they change the location of some steering, then you're going to get feedback. So back to the first person that was asking me if they could clear a 35, needing a forward arm, I would suggest you don't do a forward arm unless you have to. He didn't need to run that to clear it on that car, so I would keep it stock if you could.
The man, the myth, the legend, Mega Dirt Diesel. Hey, what's the horizontal bar above the sway bar on the race car?
Oh, horizontal bar.
Horizontal bar.
Oh, you must be talking about this one? Well, that's just a tubular mount that holds the air cleaner. So this whole air cleaner box is actually supported by that. It doesn't extend across the whole car. It only holds the air cleaner box up.
Good eye, Mega Dirt. Good eye.
He does always have a good eye, that's for sure. He's got great questions too. You have any more, Darren?
Yeah, Changeable 1120. What tires would you recommend for the X3 base model? Was thinking about getting 30 or 32s, but they might be too much for the base model, and I would need a clutch kit. If so, what brand would be the best?
So I would do 32s. I would go with Tenzer, and you've got a DS, or you've got the new style. We run a 33 right here. That would be my suggestion in a 32. And for a clutch kit, you go to DynoJet. DynoJet has a bolt-on clutch kit that's going to take care of that car perfect with 32s. You won't have to do anything but bolt it in and floor it. We have run that kit and it runs great.
Ooh, I got a juicy one here.
Juicy.
HB Kalmanai. Will we ever have electromagnetic shocks for UTVs?
No. The reason that we're not going to have that is the fluid is super expensive. You're looking at like $1,000 for 6 ounces or $1,000 for 12 ounces. So it's just out of the realm of cost for the UTV industry. But what you will see is a lot more electronic systems on shocks, more controllability, maybe not just compression control, but other things too, and very smart computers in charge of it. And we will see some like terrain tracking eventually. That's years down the road, but that stuff's coming.
Mega Desert Diesel, I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to throw the dirt in there. It won't happen again.
Good Joe Dirt reference?
Well, yeah.
No, that Waterboy.
I threw dirt in his name there, and there's no dirt in there.
All right, all right.
But then, dirt, poor TV, Chase, leave the nipples alone, and I will reply never.
He's rubbing his nipple right now, just in case you guys want to know.
Talk Guy 22, so when is the Polaris dropping their new Pro R Razor? And tell us more about the juicy details, Justin. Come on, you're holding out on everyone.
I'm very sorry, man, but I kind of got in trouble about 10 feeds ago where I gave out a little bit of information I got a talking to by some executives. So I can't really give you the stuff that you're asking for. I don't know when they're dropping the car. I do know, though, it's not our big secret that the Pro will have a wide version coming out. That's really cool. So.
We got questions for Dave, but I think it's time that we start prepping for this race.
You're getting sick of filming or what?
You know, I'm not ever sick of it, but you know, I just don't want Darren to forget anything.
Darren, you got any more questions? Or otherwise, we'll. You want to pound through? Like, let's do 5 real quick, and then we'll.
5 real quick. Okay. Kevin Lee 024. Turbo S or XP Pro for Southern Cali riding, both Walker Evans shocks.
I'm a fan of the Pro. It doesn't drive like it's narrow, and it drives like a wide car. I love a Turbo S though also. They make about the same power, same shock then. Man, I would buy whichever one you can get a better deal on. They're both pretty awesome, but I would tend to lean towards the Pro. What else?
All right.
Did you have some, Chase?
I got off-grid riding waiting to go live. If he tunes in here, we're going to get connected. Anybody who wants a free shirt, go live with us.
Right. Shirts for live. Darren, anything else?
Yeah, I just...
You have like, how does a tire work?
Ryan H. Bartlett, any info on the Yamaha, the greatest UTV alive? When will they be releasing their newest models? Please, Justin, can we buy one?
I'm sorry, man. I can't tell you anything about that. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I don't know what their next chassis change is going to be and when it's going to drop.
Which model can I go buy this year, Justin?
Of all cars?
No, Yamaha specifically.
I can't tell you. I do like the bypass shock option, so I probably would buy that one.
Alrighty. Well,
good?
Any rumors on a KRX turbo kit, Justin?
So the rumors on that are true. It is happening. The problem is it's been very slow in development because I don't think there's been a lot of help between the factory and the guys that are developing the turbo kit when it comes to computer language. From some of the little birds that I have in the industry have told me that. I would love to have a turbo kit for ours though. So hopefully soon.
I got Christian live with us. Christian, where are you at? What you driving? And what's your question?
Moab.
Moab. And you got an X3, you said?
Yeah.
Right on, man. How's the weather in Moab? We might have you beat. I think we're 112 today.
Yeah, you probably do.
What do you got going on?
So I'm only running 30s right now, and I'm running those 32s. But as soon as I get on slip rock and flip in my locker, I can't turn at all. So what is an upgrade that I can do there for better power steering?
I would suggest buying a E power steering unit. The name of it is actually E Power Steering, and that's their website as well. They've got kits for those cars that are incredible. We run that power steering kit in our race car. I run that in my pre-runner, and your factory power steering is about a 280 amp unit, and theirs is 700 or 800 amp. So it's a ton more power assist than stock. Also, you can get a rheostat option, so you can turn the power up or down according to how you want it to feel. So you can give it a little bit more road feel, or you can give it a lot more power and have less road feel. So Ken is the owner over there. If you talk to him, tell him that we sent you. But we race that stuff and love it, so I would suggest E Power Steering. Awesome, man. Well, Give us a t-shirt color and a size. I'll have Chase send you something to Moab.
Awesome. Thanks.
Send in direct messages.
Have a good one.
Okay.
All about the bike. Why doesn't Shock Therapy offer a high clearance radius rod?
So the reason we don't offer a high clearance radius rod is that we sell what we race. A high clearance radius rod with a bend in it is weaker. That bend is a spot that's giving you a weak spot to break it. And in what we do, what our racing is, we don't really run over big rock stuff, and we use the straight one for strength so it won't bend. That's why we don't have one yet. Now that doesn't mean that we're not going to make one, because we do understand you guys crawling rocks need it. It's coming soon. Give us about 30 days, we'll have high clearance stuff available.
We got Mr. Muniz live with us. What's going on, man? Where you at? What you driving? And what's your question?
Hey, how's it going, guys? You got a 2019 Racer Turbo non-S with the Walker Evans shocks.
Yep.
I know a couple episodes back you said you wouldn't go with the reflex.
I lost the sound there, Chase.
Yeah, it looks like we might. Can you try to say the question again? We lost your audio.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
There we go.
Go for it.
Okay, so I know a couple episodes back you said you wouldn't go with the reflex suspension system.
Right.
Unfortunately, I did buy it before, of course, I saw your episode and whatnot. But I would want to do your RZ2 Fox shock upgrade with the IQS system. Would you guys still be willing to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the shock, when you do that reflex kit, the shock mounts move out with the kit. So basically, it's the same exact spring rates and valving and everything. So we could send you an RC2 kit for a normal version of your car, and it will bolt right up on yours and work just fine with that reflex too. So no issues at all. You can order that up and we can knock it out.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys.
Easy. Give us a t-shirt color and a size in the messages, and we'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. You had something, didn't you?
Yeah, Jason Hortson, the new set of shocks you are developing for the Honda Talon. Do you have an estimated release date and cost?
Yes, those are internal bypasses, just like any other, like you would see on an X3. We're in development now, probably 30 days. Then we will have 20 or 30 sets in stock we could send you. Cost is going to be the same as every other bypass, about $49.95 a set.
Off the Grid Racing, one of our last live viewers here. What's going on, man? Where are you at? What you driving? What's your question?
What's going on? I'm right here in downtown LA at work.
Right on, man. We know we work with you guys quite a bit, at least in the past. And I like watching some of the stuff that you guys post going down into Mexico and taking people for runs.
So I was wondering, what would you think about either the Turbo S 4-seater or the Can-Am RR 4-seater?
Well, where are you going to run it? You going to go to Mexico?
I do a lot of, no, actually I'm going to be going towards my house in Palm Springs, so I'll be like, Cotillo, the Hammers, and a little bit of Glamis.
Hell yeah, Ocotillo.
So I would prefer the Can-Am as long as you do the bulkhead kits and front supports for all the mounts up there. Once you bulletproof the car in that way, I mean, under $2,000 worth of parts, then I think the Can-Am is going to work better, ride better in those terrains. If you don't want to spend any extra money on it, then you could buy the Turbo S. We could do a spring and shock package on it. It'll ride amazing.
Okay, so perfect. Then I'll go ahead and take that into consideration.
Right on, man. Hopefully you can find them. I know a lot of the dealers are out of all their stock right now. So
right now I know that the only one I've seen so far is Coin has 2 or 3. So.
Right on, man. Well, tell Coin that we said hi. They're a dealer for us, and maybe they can put some parts on there for you when you buy it if you get the chance.
Perfect. Nice. I'll go and let them know.
Right on, man. Give us a shirt color, size, and private message us. We'll send it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, Darren, let's do 3 questions. We're out of here.
3 questions.
Yes.
I have a Razor XP4 Turbo 2020. If I put 32s on it, would I have belt problems?
Yeah, if you leave the belt stock, then eventually you would have belt problems. I would suggest a clutch kit from Dyno Jet, and you will not have belt problems.
Changeable 1120. Would the 32s clear fine on the X3 base model cause the stock 28s look pretty close to the trailing arms?
Yeah, 32s will still fit. You just have to run the right offset. 5.2 offset would be perfect for that car.
Vegas Speed Shop. Need to be a dealer for you.
Okay, Vegas Speed Shop. Send your email or dealer request to savino@shocktherapist.com. You will go through the dealer vetting process, and he will explain all that and send you all the paperwork.
One last one.
4th question.
Tag Guy 22, if you don't have room for a spare in the back, is a roof mount okay?
Yeah, I mean, we used to run a spare on the top of the roof of my pre-runner just because I didn't have the room in the back and radios and stuff on the back of the car. You can definitely do it. Make a nice mount. Make a nice mount. You don't want the thing coming loose, banging around the roof and flying off. The more rearward you can run it, the better, so try whatever you can do. All right, if you don't have anything for me, then we're out. Chase, thank you very much for doing the filming. I know it's extremely hard. I mean,
Hey,
you really have to work.
I didn't drop the ball. Nothing shut off yet.
You work so hard at it. It's amazing. I appreciate it.
I pressed the buttons, Justin. No big deal.
That's true. And you got your new gadget. You got so excited. You guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Appreciate it. And really appreciate all the questions. If you have some good ones you'd like us to answer, then write them down over the weekend and we'll try and cover it on Tech Tuesday. If you have questions about our parts, give us a call, 623-217-4959. If you guys would like to buy some parts, then go to our website, shocktherapist.com. Have a great weekend. Remember, it's race weekend. Try and follow us and your favorite racers at the Silver State 300.